The time is 7:01, and this is the Urbana Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, and this meeting is called to order. Will someone take the attendance?
Yes.
Thank you.
Annie Adams,
Present.
Susan Jones,
Present.
Tommy Griscom, Chishi Wang, Audrey Ishii,
Present.
Bruce Mickelson,
Present.
Keenan Portis, Sartak Prasad,
Present.
Nancy Westcott, and I'm filling in for John. I'm Carmen Franks.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? No? Okay. The agenda is approved then. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Carmen? Did you have a point? Oh, okay.
Oh, I just left my mic on. Sorry, I was going to say we should recognize that Andrea and Kevin are here as well for the attendance. Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. You mentioned that you were here for John Zeman then?
Yes.
Okay. So Kevin Garcia and Andrea Rudy are here to talk about the new comprehensive plan for Urbana. Minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minute? Okay, thank you. Moved by Bruce.
I will second that motion.
Second by Sue. Discussion? Did you have discussion? No. Again, I think they really captured the essence of the meeting. Really great job. Let's have a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of the August 2024, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Okay. Public input and commissioner communications. Remember, we do also have announcements if it's a future-looking announcement. Okay. Well, I will give a quick summary of yesterday. The Mayor Marlin made a proclamation in support of Bike to Work Day, which, if you recall, Sarthak is heavily involved with, and is occurring this week on Wednesday. He'll probably talk about it a little bit. Yes, tomorrow. And I'm just going to read the proclamation. Whereas for more than a century, the bicycle has been a utilitarian, economical, environmentally sound, and effective means of personal transportation, recreation, and fitness. And whereas the City of Urbana, identified as a bicycle-friendly community by the League of American Bicyclists, encourages the use of bicycles as a means of transportation. And whereas the city recognizes bicyclists as legitimate roadway users, entitled to legal and responsible use of all public roadways. And whereas the city, recognizing the use of bicycles as a viable mode of transportation, endeavors to promote safe and responsible bicycling and has been incorporating facilities, infrastructure in the development and redevelopment vision of our community. And whereas the city encourages the increased use of bicycles, benefiting all citizens of Urbana by improving air quality, reducing traffic congestion and noise, increasing the use of and dependence on finite energy sources, and fostering exercise. And whereas the mayor encourages all citizens to ride their bicycles to work, to the store, to the park, around their neighborhood, and with friends and family, to promote the personal and societal benefits achieved by bicycling. Now, therefore, I, Diane Wolf Marlin, Mayor of the City of Urbana, do hereby proclaim September 18th as Bike to Work Day in the City of Urbana, Illinois, and encourage everyone to ride their bikes. And so this proclamation was handed to BPAC in recognition of our work promoting bicycle-friendly community. There's a CU Bike Month webpage, and sorry, I'll let Sarthak talk about that, but during the announcements probably. But there were several sponsors. The big ones are MTD, Carl, and the U of I. Okay, thank you. Okay, unfinished business. Safe Streets and Roads for All Grant Discussion by Annie Adams.
All right, just for review, this is a letter that we will be sending to Mayor Marlin and members of the Urbana City Council. The letter's in great shape. I'm just going to read through it because everyone wasn't at the meeting last month. And then I need to explain that there are a few differences in the examples at the end that are currently in your packet, if you look in your packet. So the letter is, I think, exactly the same. I know it's exactly the same. The Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, BPAC, unanimously urges the city to apply for US DOT Safe Streets for All Road Users, an SS4A grant for fiscal year 25-26. BPAC has confirmed with the Champaign County Regional Planning Commission, CCRPC, that Urbana can apply for the implementation and/or planning and demonstration SS4A grants. In 2024, nearly $1 million was awarded to CCRPC for supplemental planning and demonstration activities. About $200,000 will go towards demonstration of safety improvements on North Lincoln Avenue between Killarney and Washer. About $800,000 will be used for countywide Vision Zero data collection and safety planning with a goal of 0 Champaign County traffic fatalities. The CCRPC's success in securing this funding is encouraging and suggests a similar application by Urbana will have an excellent chance of bringing in much-needed revenue for the city's safety imperatives. Federal funding for the supplemental planning and demonstration grants for fiscal year 24 is $461.5 million. Every eligible SS4A application was awarded financial support in the previous 2 years. The U.S. Department of National Transportation Safety Strategy is pursuing a safe systems approach to traffic management, which aims to eliminate fatal and severe injuries for all road users. Safe speed is a critical element of this approach. The SS4A grant process specifically approves speed management studies and plans. The grantee matches 20%, which can be from in-kind services. Several communities of comparable size in Illinois, such as St. Joe's in 2018, Savoy and Crystal Lake, Illinois, population 40K in 2021, reduced speeds on residential streets from 30 to 25. An SS4A planning and demonstration grant would support Urbana's effort to review similar street safety options. Additional planning activities an SS4A grant can fund include planning and facilitating public meetings on street safety options, testing traffic calming measures at high speed and frequent crash locations, creating educational installations to improve situational awareness for Urbana bicyclists and pedestrians, including K through 12 students, deploying crosswalks and other bicycle and pedestrian safety infrastructure, supporting safe routes to school activities. The application process is manageable by design with a 1-page narrative plan and a 2-page description of demonstration projects. Because these funding opportunities align well with Urbana's aspiration for safer streets, BPAC strongly encourages submitting an SS4A grant application in the coming year. BPAC is ready to assist in this effort. Sincerely, on behalf of BPAC members, Audrey Ishii, Acting Chair of BPAC. References: Boston lowered the speed limit from 30 to 25 in 2017. A study that included a control site was completed. The chance of vehicle exceeding 40 miles per hour fell by 29%. Seattle found similar results. Both cities did not increase enforcement. The following concepts are fundable SS4A solutions. Oh, okay, so this is the change. This next section here is going to be a little different than what's in your packet. The following concepts are what we thought would be a good idea would be to explain that the images that are included in the packet can be deployed throughout the city, not just in those locations. So we said the following concepts are fundable SS4A solutions which can be deployed throughout the city in locations such as Blair Park, Vine in Pennsylvania, Urbana Middle School, Vine in Michigan, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, Goodwin, Beslin, and Fairview. And then we included 4 illustrations: Urbana Middle School and High School, Fairlawn and Vine, improved pedestrian crossing for students, faculty, and staff, add crosswalks, vehicle stop bars, and pop-up stop signs. Anderson and Washington, enhance safety routes to school and crosswalks, add crosswalks, vehicle stop bars, and stop signs. You're picking up on a theme. Anderson and Fairlawn, enhance safe routes to school, enhance crosswalks, and add a traffic circle to manage speeds. And then the fourth one is paint the backs of stop signs red to increase their visibility. So then we have the images here showing stop signs and stop bars and crosswalks. And then we have crosswalks and stop bars. And then we have a mini little traffic circle, and we have crosswalks. And then here's an image of the back of a stop sign painted red.
I think it's awesome because it shows exactly what we're talking about, but it's flexible.
I agree.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Could you scroll it up to the traffic circle? I like looking at it.
Okay.
I think it sounds good.
Are you asking for just the planning and implementation grant, or are you open to, or planning and demonstration grant, or are you open to the implementation grant? Because there's the 2 types of grants.
I'm going to defer to Audrey on that question.
It's our judgment that there's almost no chance of getting an implementation grant, but I think, CCRPC is pushing hard on that concept if they could get one. My understanding is our region just doesn't have the kind of traffic fatalities that are going to attract their attention for an implementation grant. Those are much, much larger, and they really want to see a bang for the buck on those grants. They want to see traffic fatalities plummet and be able to say, this is an SS4A, impact. Whereas the planning grants, they haven't been able to give away all the money yet, and everyone who's asked has received, basically, who's been eligible, including some very large grants for some fairly small communities. So, and speed studies are a big thing that they're pushing too, is speed reduction and safety plans.
Is there an amount that we can, is there like a max that we would, because weren't you saying smaller cities were getting like $1 million?
Well, that was Baltimore that was getting, it went from 1 million one year to 10 the next, $10 million on a planning and demonstration grant. But they have 20% to make available. And we did have presentations on this earlier. Salary can be paid out of it, including special programs for safety ambassadors, youth education, things like that. So really, it's just the match, the 20% is kind of the limit.
Was one of the reasons we couldn't do implementation also because that requires us to have an action plan or something that qualifies as an action plan already?
My understanding from CCRPC is that they checked and that we would be considered qualified under their action plan, but one of the things we really wanted to do was to potentially add an appendix that was Urbana specific, because none of their actions actually call for specific, they do not call out communities where the rubber meets the road, basically. So it's very generic in that sense. And we wanted to have an action plan that would be Urbana specific. We'd have to talk to them more. We really prefer it to be an appendix on their plan because they already have laid a lot of the groundwork.
Are you referring to the urban safety plan?
Exactly, yeah. They're saying that we would be covered under that if we wanted to do an implementation proposal. Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying that plan isn't specific enough, like we would.
Well, it's not specific enough to obviate the need for our own action plan. It's specific enough that it's flying they say anyway in their conversations with Fed Highways, that it would be accepted if we applied for an implementation grant. It would be specific enough for that, but, and they do identify intersections. They just simply haven't broken it down by municipality. I mean, they do identify segments and intersections and so on, but they are no longer, since 2018, breaking down the statistics of crashes by municipality. So it's not, it's very much regional. So
Yeah, I was
yes,
going to say, in all fairness, that is their focus.
exactly. That is what they are supposed to do.
So that's something you're looking for in this planning grant, is to look specific to Urbana, number of crashes,
Well,
at certain intersections?
I think we're all just tired of plans and studies. I think what we'd really like to see is a speed study that promotes action, that overcomes the obstacles to expanding the university special speed zone to all the residential and or business areas of Urbana. We'd be ready to go ahead and be more focused. I don't know, would you agree? Other people jump in?
Yes, I think we had talked about proposing the creation of this addendum, but I guess it's sort of parallel to these other initiatives, and I think there's maybe more interest in more motivation to work on these other items related to the demonstration projects. At least that's my sense.
Like, the demonstration projects would be the ones that are shown in the images here.
Yep.
Why couldn't those be implementation projects? Like, why does it have to be a demonstration?
That's the setup of the grant, is you have to do you can ask for implementation money, but again, chances are remote, honestly,
competitive.
of getting one. The demonstration grant, I feel like down the road, they're going to say, oh, if you want to just keep it there, that's okay. But they are specifically supposed to be temporary and a before and after analysis, evaluation done. Tommy looked into this quite a bit.
Yeah, I think in general, the idea is that the demonstration and planning grants, they help you to develop an action plan and revise and update an action plan. And implementation is sort of designed for those communities that already have a well-established action plan. And we maybe don't fit that profile quite as well. And I guess also maybe we're just not big enough for them to be interested in giving us an implementation grant, maybe.
And I think we're small enough so that demonstration things can make a bigger difference. And then finally, we have things out there that are visible. And people can say, oh, that little thing in the circle, that looks really good and that worked really well. Let's do that somewhere else.
But I guess certainly if there's interest from city staff in applying for implementation grants, I think, we'll be very supportive. We're not going to say, don't do that. This has just kind of been where our focus has been.
My understanding is there's more interest in the implementation
Oh,
grants than the planning
okay.
and demonstration, because our experience with the planning and demonstration grant is that it's a lot of effort for this
Right.
analysis and the reporting for not that much money,
Okay.
that it might be more worth our time to
Yeah.
go after the larger one, even if it's more competitive. But
Well, it was the word that I've received from the Vision Zero Network, which has been really coordinating a lot of these grants, is that it's supposed to fall under the categorical exclusion of needing all this meeting NEPA requirements and so on. And I recently saw a huge example, and they, I'm sorry, I'm going to have a senior moment here. There was a huge example in which, IDOT, it's right in our town. Sorry, it's the I-57, I-74 overpass. They said they were told, you're not changing the footprint. That's okay. You don't need to worry about NEPA. You're not changing the footprint. Okay.
that hasn't been our experience. We've been told
Yeah,
that even
there's
if we
something
change the
wrong.
striping, we have to do the environmental.
There's
review.
something wrong with that. Nobody would want the grant, and millions have been given out. I mean, nobody would want the grant if you have to do that. We'll have to, I'd be happy to get together with some of the examples. But I did want to point out that Annie is showing these as examples. She's not saying these have to be here. The lane delineators, for example, she doesn't have that here, but that could certainly be something. Whatever staff is interested in. She put these out as examples to generate ideas, not the be-all and end-all. Is that correct, Annie?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, they were from previous presentations that I've given on creating safe routes for students to get to school. And because I've heard a lot of concerns of parents who would really like their kids to be able to bike or walk to the local schools, but it's not safe for them to do it. So I came up with routes and ways that we could, simply modify some streets. Like this is Washington, add crosswalks and stop bars and stop signs, which would allow the students and residents who live nearby to cross those streets. And then this would be the next tough intersection. And then when they got to the school, they would actually have a stop sign. Oh my gosh. And then the students on both sides of the street, and even through that crosswalk there. Wow. So there aren't really radical ideas. I think a lot of this is like kind of common sense. But yeah, I mean, we're totally open to if whatever's gonna get us the money and get us the paint on the ground and the stop signs and.
Well, I think you would have a lot of school support for these too, because I know the school administrators have been to the Traffic Commission asking for enhancements for safety.
Yeah, and that Martin Luther King, I mean, that intersection at Goodwin, Beslin, and Fairview just needs someone to just sit there for an hour or two and watch how the cars move through the space. Because I was mentioning that I was out there for the Urbana Amble and I had a car and the cars didn't even see me. So I can't even imagine if you're like a little kid or if you're on a bike, anybody would see you. It's a weird intersection. I was looking at it when I was putting this together. It's a weird intersection, so I can see why people just sort of breeze through it. But anyway, that would need like it would need somebody to just sit there and think about like what's a really creative solution to make that space workable for everybody.
Well, can we agree to be flexible here? I mean, if the grant pursuing personnel of the city finds that the way is clear and welcome is forthcoming to pursue an implementation grant, that we will enthusiastically jump on board that with whatever support we can provide.
Does that mean I have to alter my letter, though, Bruce?
No, I don't think so. It has to do with what I'm suggesting, Annie, it's what they tell us.
No, you're
I
vague
think
enough in there.
you have the line in the first paragraph that can
Right.
apply for implementation and/or planning.
Exactly.
And demonstration grant. And I want to point out that we do have a grant writer consultant under contract now. So I don't have much experience with SS4 grants, but this firm does, and I can pass this along to them to include in their list for the grants that they'll analyze for, what should be top priority for us to go after.
And Audrey, do we have information that we can share on like our high crash areas or is that not, do we not have that data yet? Have we not collected data like that?
Oh, yeah. No, RPC has definitely collected data like that.
Oh, cool.
I don't think we need to be that specific
Right.
for this letter, though, for this resolution. That's something for staff to look at, I think. Yeah.
Or we-
No, CCRPC's definitely collected the crash data.
And we can give them other support when we have reason. Like this is saying, hey, we want this to happen and we want to support you doing it, but you're in the driver's seat. What do you want to do?
And we don't have to wait for crash data to do improvements around schools, I mean,
Right.
the Lincoln Avenue project is an example of where crash data is a big part of that.
So may I move that we vote to support this letter in its current form and send it forward?
Please. Okay. Second?
I will second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, the next item on the agenda is the U of I Campus Bicycle Master Plan update.
All right, everyone. I'll try to keep it short, really short. The university is updating the campus bike master plan, and I just sent it out for public input. We've sent it out to people who have registered their bicycles. So far, this is the list. So far, I have sent it out to the people who have registered their bicycles. So that's a list of around 3,300 people. And come on, man. And a list of 2,500 students that was procured through the Demographic Management Institute. I will be sending it out to, bike plan public input, that's why. I will be sending it out to a lot more people when I have a little bit of time, as maybe on Friday or early next week. But this form is out now, which is basically we talk about where to get the bike plan, which is this document over here. I've used bookmarks, and even in the form itself, I've talked about which page will get you to which chapter, mostly looking at implementation and goals and objectives chapters. If you have any comments, we are it would be very much appreciated if you could send us your feedback. Each form, you're allowed to send in up to 5 general comments and 5 specific infrastructure-based project comments. So the infrastructure projects that we have listed in this document are listed here under the implementation chapter, which are basically these. This is the list of our projects. And again, some of them are already underway, and some are, I need to update this just a little bit. We've got under the implementation projects, what the project is, what we are going to do, what the existing condition is, and what the future, what would be the area look like after the implementation, after the project is done. So that's about it, basically. That's all I wanted to share, that this feedback form is out now, and we are going to collect feedback until October 31st. So there's plenty of time, and hopefully we'll get a lot of comments. Once we have the comments, we will be reviewing all of them. If there is a recurring theme over a project or goal or anything, we will discuss amongst ourselves within FNS, talk about it, whether it makes sense to include it or not, present it to our steering committee, who was part of creating this draft, and include it in the document if everyone says that we should. Otherwise, we will still publish all of the public input or all the feedback that we receive from this form into the document itself.
And Sarthak, will you be doing any in-person events to try to get feedback? I know RPC cornered me at the Lincoln Avenue corridor and got me to fill out one of their longer things, which I probably would have blown off if they hadn't been there.
I'll try, but for tomorrow's and day after's events, we've got information about the bike plan and this specific feedback form, at each welcoming station for Bike to Work Day, and it will be available at all the Light the Night events as well. It's just I will not particularly have a person asking people to take the feedback, or give us the feedback. Now, we may do another event sometime in October. Maybe I'll just set up table at the quad and capture some feedback. But again, that depends on how many people respond to the public input form before that time.
And you can
yes.
ask us to probably help volunteer. I don't know if we can. I assume we could help.
Yes, and I will be sending it out to, I'll be sending individual emails as well. That's what I was saying. Like, once I have a little bit more, a little
Breathing room.
bit time, so maybe maybe on Friday or next week, I will be reaching out to all the stakeholders. So again, so far I've reached out only to people who have registered their bicycles and 2,500 students. We will be reaching out to Urbana, Champaign, Savoy, MTD, RPC, all the people who are part of the Campus Transportation Advisory Committee, so faculty, student, staff over there, then all the local bike clubs, anybody who's involved with bicycles. We'll also be reaching out to Ride Illinois, League of American Bicyclists, APBP, and things like that, just to get their, if they don't give us a feedback, that's fine, but they will at least know that this is something that's happening on campus here.
Yeah. And then different topic, bike parking on campus.
Yes.
I noticed around the instructional facility, okay. And then another thing I laugh about is in front of the union, they put these 2 bike racks in the middle of the circle, no one ever uses them. And so I was just that is dreamy. Oh my goodness. City staff around here is amazing. But thank you, Kevin. But I was going to say, that was just my only question is are you just I would just say heat mapping would be the word for it, but you're obviously not going to heat map bikes, see where people are using their bikes.
So Illini Union, that whole area is going to be like that for about 2 years. There is a roofing project going on at Illini Union, and with the Old Guildhall construction project, that whole area is going to be like that.
It's just more the bike parking is more my question. It's instructional facility. There's people are locking their bikes on trees and.
So with instructional facility, we are aware of the issue over there. We're trying to increase the capacity of bike parking, and we have identified a couple of one location at least where I can add more bike racks, but it's just when funding gets available to me for that particular area. And
What I was saying is you can take the 2 empty ones from the traffic circle. No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Only if we could do that.
Are there other questions?
Oh,
For-
yeah, actually I have one.
Sorry.
So I was just looking at the network on page 44,
Yes.
and I had a couple of questions. So one, it shows a shared use path on Florida Avenue. So the university is, on the right there. So the university would be covering the cost of the creation of that shared use path on Florida?
Could you repeat the question again?
Oh, so I guess as background, I know there was a Florida Avenue study that was done, right? Maybe by the RPC. So I guess I wasn't aware that the university would be involved maybe in the creation of that shared use path.
This shared use path is going to be on the university property.
Okay.
So there is that ITIP grant that Urbana is currently working, this project is under design right now.
Okay.
So
I
once
see.
the construction is done, it will be ours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm just curious about down in the bottom. I don't think I've ever been in that bottom
This
center
area?
square. What is that?
So this is this was identified in the campus landscape master plan. So this is the ACES trail, basically,
Okay.
legacy trail. The Embra River goes through here, and we are proposing, like with campus landscape master plan, it was proposed that we will install a shared use path that connects basically First Street over here to Race. And
So awesome.
yeah, so it's a project that's been identified in the landscape master plan. Again, it's going, it's on our radar. It's just, we'll see when it happens, but it will most likely happen. Yes.
So then on the bottom right, that would connect with Meadowbrook, is that right?
So
the far
over
bottom right?
here, it will connect over here, yes.
Yeah,
To, like,
okay.
go over
That's
to
great.
Meadowbrook. Yeah.
Thank you.
Not long ago, Rob Cantor, one of our best local naturalists, spotted a beaver dam on the Embera up in that quadrant you're looking at. There might be discussions necessary with them as to how you,
I'm sure. I'm sure. And as I said, like, this is something that will require a lot of discussion with a lot of people over there.
And
On the
this
campus side, though, like, again, like, it was approved by the campus through landscape master plan. So,
but this is a 10-year vision.
yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
I hope we'll get more input on this after we get a chance to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right,
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, and our next item is the Imagine Urbana Comprehensive Plan.
All right.
Yay. And I believe there already have been some presentations, and I believe, well, you'll be going over that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us this evening, and we're delighted to be at this point that we can share the first draft of the Imagine Urbana Comprehensive Plan with you. It's been a while since we've been in front of this committee, actually quite a while. I looked, I think it's 2 years. So the process has been going on for a while. So we'll give you some background just to kind of refresh your memory about how we got to this point, and then go through some of the points. You should have received, as part of being a commissioner, you should have received the initial release, which was on the 14th of August, and with the link on looking at the plan. And we've gotten quite a few comments from the public after that. And we're also doing our community meetings. So in front of you, you have a green flyer that has the community meeting dates on it. We have 4 left. There are 3 tomorrow, one at lunchtime at Ilias on Washington. We have one later in the evening at 6 o'clock at Tiger Academy, which is right across from the Urbana Middle School. And then we have one at the Public Library at 7 o'clock. And then on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, we have one at St. Matthew's Lutheran Church on Filer Road. So just we've had 6 in total, and a lot of interaction. It's informal. People can drop in at any time, and they'll see maps. They'll see some poster boards, and staff is there to answer any questions and get feedback. So encourage everybody to look at that. So first of all, what is the Imagine Urbana Comprehensive Plan? It's our community's vision for what Urbana should look like over the next 20 years. The last time the plan was done was in 2005, so we're at that 20-year mark. It articulates overarching goals, which we're calling big ideas in the plan, if you've seen the plan, and strategic actions we're calling big moves and little moves, and that helps make our vision a reality. It serves as the city's primary long-range planning document, guiding the future development of the community. Kevin leads the planning department, and this is a most used or a much used document on that part. But what we're trying to do with the plan this time is really have it be impactful for all departments at the city, so that they use that as a reference. So this is a map of flow map of the process. We started back in 2020. If you remember, we had a website with big ideas and a map where people could pin. We had an SMS survey that people could take. Anyway, a lot of interaction at community events, et cetera. And we had our first report that came out in October of 22 of that community engagement. Later, we had phase 2 engagement where we had what we would call the balancing act, where people had $100 to spend, and there was about probably $800 of projects to spend it on, and they had to prioritize based on the cost of those projects. So it became a difficult decision for many, and so they understand what the council has to go through when they make decisions like that. So then after that, we spent the time really gathering all that data and drafting the plan. So that's what you see before you. And we're now in the phase where we're getting public impact input on that. The Plan Commission is having study sessions at every one of their meetings. That started in August 20th. And so every meeting has a study session devoted to the plan. Eventually, they will then recommend it to the council for approval. And so then the council votes on it. So these are the reports. I already referred to the community outreach summary in October of 22. Before that, we did an assessment of the 2005 plan to see what we could learn from that, what worked, what didn't work, and how we can improve upon it. We also did Examine Urbana. That was released in 23. Examine Urbana is what in most plans is called existing conditions or present conditions. But we had a colleague, Kevin and I, one of our colleagues, Lily Wilcock, she had a capstone project for her master's at the University of Illinois, and she spent an inordinate amount of time creating this wonderful document that we use for a lot of purposes. There's a chapter called Development and Taxes that is helpful for everything, people to understand government. So it's a great read, and it's very interactive. So we're very proud of that and proud of Lily's work. We then did the balancing act I told you about. We did one in each ward, so we even compared ward to ward. We compared online versus in person. So that is available. All of these documents are in the appendices of the existing plan. And then now in August, we released the first draft. So this is the table of, table of contents. We start out with our vision and values. We have the background and the process. We cover what the big ideas are. Again, those are our goals. The big moves and little moves are our action steps. We have the master maps. Kevin has spent an inordinate amount of time on creating maps, and we're also using a U of I class that's helping with some of that as well. We'll be tracking our progress, and we have metrics assigned so that we are tracking how we're progressing, if we're actually implementing these different items, or if things have changed and they're no longer going to be implemented. So evaluation and reporting is very important. We're going to have ongoing updates to City Council. It'll mirror their goals, and then also we plan to have an update every 5 years of the plan. So this is how the big moves, big ideas kind of interrelate with each other. You see the big ideas across the top. Then we have big moves that sometimes fulfill one big idea, but they might fulfill 3 big ideas. And then the little moves, they're not listed here, but they're the smaller action steps that help us achieve that. And then, like I said, all the metrics tie into the big moves. So our big ideas, we have 4 of them, and it's hard to argue, I think, with agreeing with these goals, but Urbana is a place for everyone. And again, these are our aspirations. We feel like we do a good job of our vision, which is being a welcoming place for everyone. But one of our goals, Urbana is a place for everyone. Urbana is both financially and environmentally resilient. Urbana is a city of connected neighborhoods, and Urbana embraces its cultural vibrancy and character. So then that takes us to our big moves and little moves. I won't go through each one of these individually, but focusing on big move number 6, I think is what's important probably to this group, is making walkability the default setting. And I'm going to have Kevin just kind of elaborate a little more on what that means.
Yeah, I mean, just on a basic level, we shouldn't be doing things that do not increase walkability and bikeability and connectivity in general, but just being very explicit that we want to do things that are going to make Urbana more walkable. Just stating that outright and making that a reality. If you tune into Plan Commission meetings, you might see some back and forth that we'll be having with the plan commissioners about this one. I think they might think there needs to be a little more nuance in that, but that's what we have in the draft plan, and I like it.
Yeah. We wanted to be very obvious with that, and Kevin and I went back and forth, I think even I, on this title, and then we all agreed that, yes, this says it best, the best we think it can, that it's our default and everything should reflect that. So focusing on big move number 6, that is the handout in front of you, just so that you don't have to read the small print here. But continue to implement the 2020 Pedestrian Master Plan and the 2016 Bicycle Master Plan. Those are very critical plans that already exist, and so they will be part of this plan. Identify development regulations that don't support walkability and change them where appropriate. Use walkable city rules as a guide to make Urbana more walkable. Kevin, do you want to
I'll just
chime in on that?
So, yeah, I'm sure some of you on this commission are familiar with Jeff Speck's Walkable City book, and which just celebrated its 10-year anniversary with a 100-page update to it. So I'd recommend you get that one if you're looking to purchase something from your local bookseller or perhaps an online bookseller, which will not be named. Also, walkable city rules. So it's kind of the walkable city is kind of, the why we should do walkable cities and the elements of walkable cities. But walkable city rules is sort of the guidebook for how to make that happen. And that one's even more accessible, even though the other one is an amazing read as well. So we wanted to call that out because it's a great guide, and just put that right in our plan so that we're very explicit about using that as a resource.
So continuing on, work with the community to identify personal and physical safety concerns that deter people from walking and develop measures to address them. And one of the things I want to mention is that this group, we really want to use you and get feedback from you and help us in implementing this plan, giving us that guidance, making sure that we're on track. Prioritizing staff time to focus on making streets and parking lots safer for people walking and biking. In our community input, we heard feedback several times about we have sidewalks, but how do you walk through a parking lot safely? So things like that some people don't automatically think of. Extending the Kickapoo Rail Trail through downtown Urbana, developing policies for traffic calming, expanding federal funding investment for public infrastructure in targeted low-income neighborhoods, and update brick sidewalk ordinance to prioritize safety and function of the city's sidewalks. And you notice we say update the ordinance. That doesn't mean that we're going to eliminate brick sidewalks or that we're going to repair them. It's really updating it and really getting feedback. And we're getting a lot of feedback right now on the brick sidewalks, on safety. So the associated big ideas, this is one that hits